Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I have a story for you all tonight, and the story is called Apartment 3B. Without further ado, let's get started. Apartment 3B had been empty for 3 years. No one said why, at least not out loud. The building manager simply just called it unlucky and kept the rent low enough that desperation would usually outweigh any curiosity. That's why the Holloway family took it. Mark and Elena Holloway were a newly married couple with a 6-year-old daughter named Lucy, who were looking for a new apartment that they could afford when they stumbled on apartment 3B. They didn't bother to ask anything about the apartment, why it's been vacant for so long, or why the hallway lights flickered only near their bedroom door, or how the air felt colder just outside of the apartment, as if the room itself were holding its breath. The first night was quiet. Too quiet. No traffic noise, no neighbors, just the hum of the refrigerator and the distant ticking of a clock, Lucy's favorite clock that she insisted on keeping by her bed every night, so she could listen to its sweet ticks as she slept. At 2:43 a.m., Ellen awoke to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Slow, dragging, and bare. She nudged Mark, whispering that someone was outside their door. He listened for a moment, then told her, "It's probably just the pipe settling. It's an old house, old apartment building. Normal noises." But when Elena tried to lay back down, she heard something else. A faint crying in the distance. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of crying that came from someone trying not to be heard. The noises soon became routine. Footsteps pacing the halls when no one was there. Soft knocks on the walls that stopped the moment Mark investigated. Lucy started to complain that the mirror in her bedroom looked wrong. By the third night, Elena noticed the mirrors had begun to crack. Not shatter, but crack. Thin spiderweb fractures spreading slowly across the glass as if something on the other side were pressing outward. She replaced one, then the next morning it was cracked again. Lucy was so scared now at night that she had stopped sleeping in her bedroom. She said that a strange woman stood behind her mirror every night, just staring at her. A woman with dark hair hanging over her face, her neck bent at an angle, and it made Lucy very sick and very scared to look at. "She's mad," Lucy whispered one night. "She says this is still her home." Mark finally went to the building manager. The man grew pale when he heard the apartment number. 3B? He asked quietly. "You weren't told?" "Told what?" asked Mark. The manager sighed and rubbed his face. Then he told Mark about Marianne Klein. Marianne had lived alone in apartment 3B. Quiet and polite, she kept to herself. No one noticed when she stopped coming down the stairs. It was the smell that eventually led them to her door. She had been murdered. Beaten so badly, her face was unrecognizable. Her neck broken, mirrors shattered all around her, shards of glass embedded in the walls and the floor. The police never found out who did it. And after that, the apartment started to become haunted by the woman in 3B looking for her murderer to take revenge upon the person whose face she was last to see before she died. Wandering the halls every night, leaving cracks in mirrors, evidence to one day find her killer so she can be at rest. And after that, no one stayed long in this apartment. Some left screaming in the middle of the night. Some vanished altogether without a single trace of ever being seen again. Some stayed one night and then packed up and left. Mark went home that night pale and shaking. The mirrors that night didn't just crack, they exploded. Glass burst outward with deafening force. Shards sliced into walls, furniture, skin. Lucy screamed as something unseen dragged her bedroom door open. The hallway filled with footsteps, dozens of them, circling, pacing, running. Elena saw her in the reflection of the shattered bathroom mirror. Marianne? Her body twisted and broken, her mouth open in a silent scream. Her eyes locked onto Elena with a fury so deep it felt ancient. You live here where I died? The woman whispered. You sleep where I screamed. You slept in the same bed that I was murdered in many years ago. The lights flickered out. The neighbors later said they heard screaming that night, a family screaming, then nothing at all. When the police arrived the next morning, apartment 3B was empty. No bodies, no blood, no furniture. Just an empty home with a few shattered mirrors lining the walls, reflecting an empty room over and over again. And written into the dust on the floor, in a woman's careful handwriting, were the words, "They stayed." Apartment 3B remains vacant to this day. Sometimes at night the residents hear a child laughing softly in the hallway. Sometimes they hear a man begging and pleading. And sometimes, if you pass by the door quietly enough, you can hear a woman crying. Nobody ever saw the Holloway family again. The apartment lies there dormant, closed away with police tape to never be rented again.